views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19, also known as coronavirus, and how it's impacting our community and beyond. Coming up on today's show, as COVID-19 spreads in the prisons and around New York, we hear from a community group calling on the state to release at-risk prisoners. Plus, amid restaurant closings, we hear how businesses are being impacted and what we can do. And we'll find out about a fund with a goal to support service workers. Then Bobby C has the latest on the impact that it's having in the world of sports. Later on, we'll learn about what meditation and resting can do to your mind. I've tried it and it works. Stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way. We are now open. Welcome. Leading things off, a guard at a prison, Rikers Island, and other prisons, such as Sing Sing, have tested positive for COVID-19. And many groups have come together to call on the city and state to release prisoners. Joining us now, we have Hamza Saldana, the director of the Release Aging People in Prison campaign. Welcome. Can you give us your take on what you believe is happening in the prisons right now? Circle around COVID-19?
Yes, but I also want to add that I just got reports from people that are incarcerated at Greenhaven Correctional Facility.
Yeah.
That 4 guards were reportedly tested for COVID virus.
Yeah.
So, my take on this is that the Department of Correction in New York City and New York State are not prepared for this crisis. So what they do is take security measures that amount to punitive measures against the incarcerated people and their families.
Yeah.
The first thing they normally do is to suspend all visits. And that creates a crisis in itself because the separation of families during such a serious and deadly health crisis, it's an extra burden on those who are incarcerated and their families.
Yes. So they just started testing now. So if they just started, that means there's been people walking around with it for a long time. And they're just finding out.
Well, they started testing the staff. You know, I don't know where they're doing any testing in any correctional facility.
Yeah. Were you a former security officer or correction officer there at one of the prisons?
No. I'm formerly incarcerated.
Yeah. Okay.
I was released from prison roughly 2 years ago after 38 years of incarceration.
So now you speak on behalf of the prisoners all over.
Yes, because I understand the seriousness and the impact that this virus will have on those who are incarcerated. During my incarceration, you know, the AIDS, HIV virus hit the prison systems in New York with devastating results. Some people that I've known very well passed away during this crisis. I was also incarcerated during a hepatitis outbreak that resulted in more deaths, tuberculosis outbreaks, and in all these health crises, the prison administration will not prepare.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enclosed area, and I mean, people can catch things right away. But so, are you working? Who are you talking to about the release of some of these prisoners?
Well, we're organizing a collective demand that the governor grant clemencies to the elderly, foremost the elderly, because we're talking about people who have already languished in prison for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and in a few cases approaching 50 years of incarceration. And most of these men and women have age-related ailments, chronic illnesses, illnesses that compromise their immune system. They are the most vulnerable to this disease.
Yeah.
The virus targets the elderly and those whose systems have been compromised. So why not release these men and women who would almost certainly die when this virus hits the prison system?
Are they
and
capable?
we are also calling for to advance the parole release process. You know, we have men and women who are already parole eligible, but are being denied parole.
Yeah.
Expedite their release now.
So who would be, you would have to contact the governor? Is the governor in charge of that release, or the mayor?
We're calling on the governor. We're also involved on the city level in calling on Mayor de Blasio to take the same action.
Yeah.
Why keep these men and women knowing that they're in an environment that when this virus hits, it's going to kill people?
So when you say the elderly in prison, what is that, 60 and over, or what?
No. The Department of Correction defines someone elderly at 55 years old. So we're going to go by that definition.
Okay. So 55 and up.
Right.
Does it fall into any category? I mean, they're serving time for like petty theft or something like that, or how does it work?
Well, the ones that have languished in prison for decades, they're not in there for nonviolent crime. They're in there for violent crime.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we have to understand that the majority of these men and women have not only transformed their lives, but they have helped a generation of younger people transform their lives. Some of my mentors are still incarcerated. If I was released, they should have been walking out of prison alongside with me.
So what's the next action? What's the plans? What are you going to do next?
Well, the plans is to galvanize a collective effort of not only a coalition of activists and advocates, but also families who have incarcerated loved ones, as well as some of the legislators who are supporting our efforts to call on Governor Cuomo and the mayor to take these life-saving measures.
Well, Jose, we wish you a lot of love and luck with all of that, and we hope that your wishes are, come true. But you have to call the governor, and you have to call, the governor, because he's in charge of all the state prisons, right? And then the local prison, Rikers Island, all the jails that are on Rikers Island and throughout the 5 boroughs, the mayor's in charge of that. Is that right?
That's correct. And those on Rikers Island have been convicted of any crime.
All right. How do people reach you if they want to respond and help out?
Well, I would invite them to our website, rappcampaign.com. That's RAPP campaign.com. And all the information is available right there to reach us.
Jose, thank you so much. Jose Hamza Saldana.
And thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll come back with more right after this.
Distance learning went into effect for State University of New York and City University of New York students. Last week, Governor Andrew Cuomo implemented distance learning for the remainder of the spring semester in a response to slow the spread of COVID-19 in New York.
Starting March 19th, we'll move to a distance learning model. CUNY will help reduce the density in New York City. SUNY will help reduce the density in downstate New York. Downstate is where we have the highest density of cases now.
Since the online courses began, it's left many campus grounds, like this one, empty.
Nobody really knows the dimensions of this virus. We don't know how long it's going to take, but we do know that if we wait until the danger is manifest, it'll be too late. So anything you can do now, do everything you can to stop this virus.
CUNY City College President Dr. Vince Boudreau is all for distance learning. He says it's their obligation.
Number one, protect the people on our campus. And that means getting separation between students and faculty. You and I are standing far apart from each other. So that's the first thing. Number two, we have an educational mission. And as long as it is possible for us to execute on that mission, we will do so.
Psychology professor Leticia Perez is one of the few educators here on CCNY's campus today. Perez has been taking the necessary measures with distance learning so her students do not fall behind on schoolwork.
We're using Blackboard Collaborative Ultra. It's a pretty reasonable platform. It's easy to use. We've got numerous tutorials, and we've also sent numerous tutorials to the students so they have the capacity to log in. My students, if they have questions, write them down so we can go over them. The virtual website is basically you and me, we're speaking. So everyone has an opportunity to speak.
Remote coursework is the new reality for CUNY and SUNY students. Like Anna, a CUNY student who is quickly adjusting to the new protocols, but has some concerns about getting into a nursing program due to the cancellation of in-person classes.
There's a lot more online, so you have to be at the computer more. You have to figure out how you get your assignments turned in on time, how you participate. As of now, I don't think I will graduate on time because CUNY is talking about canceling some of the summer classes, which is what I was counting on to get into the nursing program.
Dr. Vince Boudreau also says CUNY is searching for alternative ways to safely deliver commencement ceremonies for spring 2020 graduates, like potentially postponing it. Reporting for BronxNet, Ashley Tiffany.
Welcome back. As tipped and service workers continue to lose their jobs, our next guest joins us to share what her organization is doing to help. We welcome Saru Jayaraman.
Thank you.
One Fair Wage. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us what One Fair Wage is all about.
Yeah, well, I co-founded an organization called the Restaurant Opportunity Center, or ROC, in another moment, somewhat comparable to this and also not comparable, which was 9/11. After 9/11, we founded the organization together with workers displaced from Windows on the World, which was the restaurant on top of the World Trade Center.
Yes.
And then in 2013, so we started as a relief center, handing out checks, just like we're doing now, to workers displaced as a result of 9/11.
Oh, we need you.
And then and then in 2013, we launched a campaign called One Fair Wage to call for a full minimum wage, a full livable minimum wage for everybody in this country, including tipped workers who currently get a sub-minimum wage, which is really a problem now. And we're seeing it that it's a problem now because workers in New York and the 43 states with a sub-minimum wage are getting unemployment insurance calculated on a sub-minimum wage plus tips, as opposed to $15 plus tips, which is what they really should be getting.
Yes.
So if they had been paid all along, like everybody else, a full minimum wage by their boss and let the tips be an extra or bonus, they would be getting full unemployment right now, which they're not.
Yeah.
So we've been fighting for that for a long time. That campaign grew. That's the campaign for one fair wage, that everybody in this country should be paid a full minimum wage from their employer, and tips should be on top of that. And that broad entity, One Fair Wage, is now launched a relief fund called the OFW Emergency Fund. It's for all service workers, restaurant, nail salon, car wash, airport, parking attendants, Uber, Lyft drivers, Instacart, DoorDash. We are offering cash relief to workers in all of these sectors, because a lot of them will not be eligible for any kind of state or federal aid in terms of unemployment insurance or the potential cash relief that's coming from the federal government. And because they're not eligible, we want to be sure to get them some cash relief. And so you can go to ofwemergencyfund.org if you're a worker and sign up. And if you'd like to contribute, ofwemergencyfund.org. But we also need other people to go there and sign up and donate, please, for the literally millions of workers that are getting laid off right now and are struggling to make ends meet.
I was going to ask you, how are you funded? Because, a lot of people are going to be calling you. And, you funded a lot of people in the past, and now you need it to come full circle.
That's right.
You also need people to contribute money to what you're doing so that you can, complete the circle.
That's right. And I will say, very, very touched and moved. We've already raised $150,000 online in the last week. And then Andrew Yang came out and announced today that he is supporting New York workers through our fund. And so we will be able to support a lot more New York workers that sign up.
Bravo, Andrew Yang, bravo. He's a good guy.
He is a good guy. And there are a lot of other donors that are stepping up. So, but we call on everybody, if you are okay, if you're getting paid to work from home, please donate to workers who are not being paid, who are struggling to feed their families right now through the OFW Emergency Fund. 100% of the money we're getting is going straight back out to cash relief to workers.
Do you have local officials helping you out, local government helping you out with it?
We've had some elected officials start to encourage people to donate. Actually, this evening, I'm going to be doing a live stream with Senator Sanders. Other elected officials are starting to encourage people to donate, but we need people to do more. One of the things that we'd like to see state legislators do is provide extra relief in terms of tax abatements or cash or subsidies to restaurant owners that commit to paying one fair wage once the crisis is over next year. We'd love to encourage more restaurants to move in a better direction so that we're not faced with this same situation again in the future. Yeah,
because a lot of restaurants are not going to make it under these current conditions. So we need people like you. We thank you for the service that you're providing, and thank you for the work that you're doing. We really appreciate you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to give you my microphone and my camera one more time to ask for what you want.
Great.
You got it. It's yours.
Thank you. We need people to go to www.ofwemergencyfund.org and please do three things. One is donate. Please give so that workers in need can get access to cash relief. Two is volunteer. You can click to volunteer and help us with screening calls. We need hundreds of volunteers to help call through the list and get workers the relief they need. And three is to spread the word. We've got a You've Got Served challenge. You can do a quick, fun video at home and donate and call on 5 of your friends to do the same video and spread the word. We need everybody to support these workers now.
Saru, Jayaraman, thank you so much. Thank you for all your work once again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
To pray for you and your organization, your family, and everybody watching us right now.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more next.
Well, I got this as a paid internship. Spending my time here, I really enjoyed the people that work here. I enjoy what goes on behind the scenes.
So far, I've learned how to operate a camera, how to host. I learned how to control audio.
My first time hosting was really nerve-wracking, but I really enjoyed it because it was a new experience.
Welcome back. Restaurants in New York are only open for takeout and delivery, and many restaurant owners are calling on the state for financial help. Joining us with all the details, we have Marisa Fleischut. She's the president and CEO of the New York State Restaurant Association. Marisa, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What's happening with the restaurants right now?
So restaurants right now are either trying to convert to a delivery and takeout only model, or they have temporarily shut down due to the coronavirus. So we're trying to keep track as best we can as to what our restaurant members are doing. And right now, based on the responses we've received, it looks like about 70% are trying to give takeout and delivery a try, and about 30% have temporarily closed down.
And I'm a person who really, really loves to eat out, and my family will eat out every day if they can. What do you need at this point, Marisa?
We need the government to step in and help as much as they possibly can. At this point, we've asked for the sales tax payments, which are due today to the state, to be deferred. In 90-day deferment would help at least for now until we find out how long we're going to be shut down for and how long it's going to take to get everyone through this crisis. In addition to sales tax, we're asking for help with a rent abatement program so that come April 1st, people don't have to make those rent payments or, fear being evicted eventually. We think that if everybody shares the pain now, the landlords and the business owners together, that when we come out of this, those storefronts will be full and, well, hopefully full, and that we will be able to come back as an industry. In addition, we need the federal government to pass an aid package as soon as possible because we have to get money into the hands of the business owners and the employees who have been impacted by this.
And what will happen if that does not happen, if the government doesn't step in?
Well, unfortunately, we've already seen a number of restaurant employees get laid off and start applying for unemployment here in the state of New York. I'm sure it's the same across the country. And, unfortunately, I feel like if we don't get help and get help soon, that the restaurants aren't going to all survive this shutdown.
Yeah. And what can people do to help out? We can go and buy food. Are they going to put the food through? They're going to maybe build something where they can put it through a window. How's that going to look?
Yeah, I think most restaurants are doing a really good job protecting the public right now. Restaurants in general have always done a lot to make sure that the customer was safe and that the food was handled safely. So the practices we have in place every day to prevent people from getting sick in our restaurants are in place still, and we're operating under good guidelines as far as the CDC is concerned and the health department is concerned around this virus. So ordering takeout and delivery, if you can right now, and if you're a healthy person and you can do that, that's great. And as we go forward, if once we get out of this, eat out and eat out often.
Eat out often. And so you urge us to just come out and order, do takeout.
Yeah, and I think another thing that could help is just to check out your restaurants on social media and see what they're doing. A lot of them are posting there as a way to market to their customers, and find out what your local restaurant is doing and what they are suggesting would be best for them so that you can help them, because every restaurant situation is different right now.
Yeah. Melissa, how's it going at home? A lot of people are working from home. How are you faring?
I'm fine, thank you. I have my college-age daughter here with me, and she starts her e-learning classes on Monday.
Yeah.
We're healthy and we're grateful for that right now. But as you can well imagine, the industry is in dire straits, and there are long days from this past week and long days ahead.
Yeah. Well, God bless you. Do you have a website where we can go and check out the different places that are open? And what times are you open until?
So it's not our website wouldn't list that kind of information. We do have a website. We're at www.nysra.org. That's our acronym for New York State Restaurant Association. We don't have a link to all of our member restaurants up there. So again, I would encourage you to check out social media pages and their websites for that sort of information. But the governor's curfew, even for essential people, I believe, is still in effect. So I would have to
So
check
they're
on
closing
that
around
for
8
you.
o'clock at night or something like that?
I believe so, yes.
All right. So I would like to go to one of the restaurants, pull up in the car, and maybe we can use the parking lot for a little while and eat in your parking lot. I mean, back in the day, they used to have the White Castle people come out and you can eat right in your car. I don't know if it's going back to that. A lot of things are going back to what it used to be.
Yeah, well, the governor just did a press conference this morning. He went on a little after 11, and he's now talking about all non-essential businesses will be shut down. He went from 50 to 75% yesterday, and he just announced he wants to go to 100%. So, as much as you can, keep your social distance and keep that safe space. And again, I don't know, maybe not congregate in the parking lot if that's of a concern, but maybe if you're inside your car with your windows up, you're okay. I'm not a health professional, so I can't really advise.
I know. We're all wondering, what can we do? What's next? And wow, this is a biggie. We've never been through this before. And
no, and it's changing so rapidly. It's hard to predict.
Yeah. So if he shuts down everything, I know California, the governor got on TV yesterday and shut down everything. So over 40 million Californians are shut down and quarantined, or whatever new words you want to use for it. If he does that in New York, will our restaurants still be open in this capacity where people can drive up and take out?
Well, I can't say for sure exactly what, the next days are going to bring, but as of last night, the executive order he issued last night did say that restaurants and bars were essential services for food takeout and delivery. So under last night's executive order, will remain open for takeout and delivery only. But again, this changes rapidly, and he has the experts by his side to help him make those decisions. So right now, I think, restaurants are going to stay open for takeout and delivery, but I don't know where this is going.
We need you. Melissa, thank you for all that you do. Give us that website one more time.
Sure. It's www.nysra.org.
Melissa, thank you so much, and God bless you. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Melissa Fleischut, President and CEO, New York State Restaurant Association. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more after this.
I was there.
I was there.
Yo estuve allí.
So many symptoms came on me all at once.
Shortness of breath.
I stopped sleeping.
I was getting laryngitis.
Emotionally, it was a basket case.
None of these issues did I have before 9/11.
The World Trade Center Health Program gave me hope.
You don't have medical insurance, that should not be a problem because the fundings are already there.
The doctor told me when I spoke with her, she says I could fill a room with people that sound just like you.
They were very thorough, very caring and empathetic.
When I left there, I had a plan in hand.
If you're sick because of 9/11 and its aftermath, the World Trade Center Health Program can help you.
There's no other place like this.
It saved my life.
Hey there, sports fans. Bobby C. back here at Yankee Stadium. On Friday morning show, I gave you my top 10 Yankees of all time, the rankings. This morning on Monday morning show, I'm going to give you my top 10 Yankee moments in Yankee Stadium history. Here are the rankings. Coming in at number 10, April 19th, 1923. That's the date the original Yankee Stadium opens, the house that Ruth built. 75,000 fans cheered Babe Ruth's three-run homer that day. By all accounts, it was electric, the first of many, many moments like that here in the Bronx. A few years later, an historic football moment, November 10th, 1928. Win one for the Gipper. Things looked bleak for Notre Dame as it headed into a showdown at Yankee Stadium with undefeated powerhouse Army. They had lost two big football games to start the season, and legendary coach Knute Rockne couldn't seem to get them right. Still, the team played to a scoreless halftime tie in front of 78,000 fans. Rockne spoke to the team at halftime, rallying them to a 12-6 win. Legend has it that Rockne told his players that he was at the bedside of dying Irish star George Gipp, who shined in games against Army in 1919 and 1920, but died after the 1920 season. Gipp, in a monologue made famous by Ronald Reagan, supposedly told Rockne, "When the team is up against it and the breaks are beating the boys, tell them to go out and win one just for the Gipper." Here's number 8 on my list of all-time Yankee moments from Yankee Stadium. Maybe the greatest boxer of all time. On June 22nd, 1938, Joe Louis beats Max Schmeling. Heavyweight boxing champ Joe Brown Bomber Louis would make quick work of Hitler favorite Max Schmeling. The rematch was over in just 124 seconds. If Louis isn't the best, this next boxer probably is, and he too fought at Yankee Stadium. September 28th, 1976. Muhammad Ali beats Ken Norton. Norton went toe-to-toe with Ali for 15 grueling rounds. He lost by a controversial decision still debated by boxing fans. In at number 6, Roger Maris bests the Babe, hit 61 on October 1st, 1961. Maris hit his 61st homer in the fourth inning of the last game of the season in front of 23,154 fans at Yankee Stadium. He hit the homer off Boston rookie Tracy Stallard. Those moments came from the original Yankee Stadium, but this one comes from the new ballpark, or at this point, the newer ballpark. The Yankees celebrated opening the new one across the street in 2009 in a big way. The 2009 World Series showcased the Pinstripers and the Philadelphia Phillies. The Yanks would go on to win in 6 games, around to their 27th World Series title. The victory came at the new ballpark with World Series MVP Hideki Matsui leading the way in a rematch of the 1950 World Series. In at number 4, some pro football. How about the greatest game ever played? Sounds about right. December 28th, 1958, the greatest game ever played. The Baltimore Colts beat the New York Giants in overtime and what's considered the greatest football game ever. 2 years earlier, you may have had the greatest World Series game ever. October 8th, 1956. Don Larson is perfect in the Fall Classic. It didn't bother Don Larson that most people remember him for one amazing day. The late, great Larson is still the only pitcher to throw a perfect game in the World Series, and the image of catcher Yogi Berra jumping into his arms is legendary. Larson said in interviews that he was shaking in the ninth inning. "They can never break my record," he once said. "The best they can do is tie it." Coming in at number 2, October 18th, 1977, Reggie. Reggie Jackson didn't make my top 10 greatest Yankees, although his name is of honorable mention, but this moment is worthy of top 10 status. Jackson knew he was in a groove before Game 6 of the 1977 World Series, even before it started. He said, "I remember that I had an unbelievable batting practice that night," he told reporters years later. "I remember during the batting practice that lasted 5 minutes, I must have taken 60 to 70 swings, and I hit 35 to 40 of them out, all to right center. I couldn't miss. I got out of the cage, and I got a standing ovation." Jackson was told the Dodgers were likely to pitch him inside, and he was ready. His first at-bat was a 4-pitch walk. His other 3 at-bats were homers to help the Yanks clinch the World Series. A superstar moment. Speaking of superstars, he may have ranked second on my all-time Yanks list to Babe Ruth, but his Gettysburg Address of baseball ranks number 1 in the all-time moments and in stadium lore. July 4th, 1939, Lou Gehrig's speech, his farewell speech. Between doubleheader games against the Washington Senators, Gehrig gave his luckiest man on the face of the earth speech. People were crying all over the ballpark. In its coverage the following day, the New York Times said it was perhaps as colorful and dramatic a pageant as ever was enacted on a baseball field as 61,808 fans thundered a hail and a farewell to Lou Gehrig. The Yankees retired Gehrig's uniform number 4, making him the first player in Major League Baseball history to be accorded that honor. Agree? Disagree? Share your list with us. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back. During uncertain times, stress levels are high. And joining us for a discussion on the importance of meditation, we have a senior instructor of Mindful, Marisa Viola. We welcome you to the show. They say MNDFL, right? Meditation.com. Tell us about the importance of meditation.
Thank you so much for talking to me about this and for talking about meditation in general. It's really such a powerful tool, and it's interesting because it's been gaining a lot of popularity.
Yeah.
I teach in corporations at this point. I've taught in really pretty much every population you can imagine. It feels almost like it was all leading up to this point because such a tool of resilience.
Now more so than ever before.
Exactly. That expression, now more than ever, just gets truer and truer and truer, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a practice that is about resilience in a lot of ways. It's a very realistic kind of down-to-earth practice. And I think that there are some misperceptions around it that make it seem like it's a bit flighty or like a new agey kind of woo-woo thing. But really, it's very much about getting grounded and learning how to deal with reality. So it's very much about finding a way of participating with your experience that's going to allow you to relax into it and stay open to it. So there's really no time that is not a good thing. But obviously right now we're in a really sort of unprecedented unknown. We've never really been in a place that is so totally unknown. And so this is really a practice that is all about that. It's all about navigating the unknown and developing confidence in doing that.
So there's a lot of things going on the outside, but what you want to do is bring people on the inside, your subconscious world, and get into meditation. For one who's never done that before, how do you start? Where do you start? How do you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you phrased it that way, that, now it's kind of this opportunity for us to come to the inside. And I know that, a lot of what's coming up for people, it feels really frightening and new. But in a lot of ways, if we're paying attention, it's an opportunity for us to actually notice the ways in which some of these feelings might be kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Very, very like deeply ingrained sort of reactionary way of being in our own worlds, in our own minds. So to just approach the situation with some curiosity and sort of like, oh, maybe this is an opportunity for me to take a look at the things that are maybe making me suffer more deeply than I have to.
Yeah.
So for a beginner, I would say the most important thing is to find some guidance. So I'm an instructor, as you said, for mindful meditation. We have a live stream that we're doing, so people can go to Mindful TV, which I think it's just found at Mindful Meditation, MNDFL meditation.
Yeah.
There's also apps that you can download. There's a million different ways of getting meditation into your life. So I would say starting with some guidance and not feeling the pressure to just sort of like sit down and get it right. Recognizing that this is not a practice that's about clearing your mind. It's not about this kind of like instant serenity or like, oh, I sit down and I'm going to have this really peaceful experience. It's really about slowing down and getting to know your own mind. So I think when you're beginning, the most important thing is to not judge your experience, to recognize it's going to be kind of itchy and uncomfortable, but to be willing to work with what is there. I always say that this is a practice that is about willingness, not perfection.
What do you want people to know about meditation and mental health? Because, we're on top of one another right now. We're coming in many different ways, coming in out of the community, and you're coming in from working outward to come into your mind and get into your subconscious world. What do you want them to know about the mental health and meditation?
Yeah. So I think that, especially for the particular circumstances that we're in right now, the lack of control is really, really triggering.
Yeah.
And that's triggering for people all the time. Human beings want control. We really crave it. And we're not going to get all that much of it. So I think that in terms of navigating the situation and really working on building some sort of courage and strength in that realm of mental health, the first thing is just recognizing we have to let go of some of that control. There's going to be noise that is in our environment that we don't necessarily want. I was actually working with a one-on-one student who I usually work with in person, but we were working via Skype just before I was talking to you. And he has 5 children. And we spent the first 5 minutes of meditation just really opening up to the sounds in the environment and recognizing them as the sounds of life rather than the sounds of somebody interrupting your meditation.
So you include the outside sounds into your
Exactly.
meditation.
This is a bridge, this practice.
Yes.
It's a bridge between what's on the inside and what's on the outside. And it allows us to soften a little bit into our experience and be more compassionate with both ourselves and others, which is actually scientifically proven. This is the amazing thing, is that all of the science, all of the studies that have happened around meditation are really showing how this is affecting the brain. So we're taking pressure off of the amygdala when we meditate, which is responsible for the fight-flight reaction.
Yeah.
We're lengthening our fuse. A student of mine one time told me that he felt that he went from having a 3-second fuse to a 10-second fuse.
I know what that's like.
You know what it's like.
I
Okay,
know what it's like.
do you practice? Or you just know the 3-second fuse?
I know about the fuses.
about the 2 different styles. Yeah, exactly.
I have gone in a few times before in my life.
Yeah. It's a big shift. It allows us to stay in the present. It allows us to be not always 10 steps ahead. It's needed all the time, but right now it's going to give us the resiliency that we really need. And, in a sense, as scary as this situation is, and obviously it's going to come with a lot of suffering, which I'm in no way minimizing, it's an opportunity for us as well to slow down and begin to work on these things. Like, we can come out of this possibly stronger than when we went in.
Yeah. I had a professor at the New York Institute of Technology, and he was into silver mine meditation. I don't know if they still do that. I haven't done it in a while, but have you heard of
that one? But it sounds fascinating.
Silver mine meditation. I won't get into it because I was back there.
Yeah.
But yes, this is helping us with our everyday health, right? And this is something that's needed today. Absolutely. Because a lot of people are frightened. A lot of people are, they don't know what's around the corner. And our officials are trying to explain to us, but it seems like they don't know all of the answers.
Exactly. They don't have.
They don't know. That frightens everybody.
Exactly. But the thing is that with all of these changes also comes a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
It comes with the opportunity for us to adapt and grow and evolve. And maybe there are ways that we need to evolve, and this can be a practice that really allows us to kind of relate to what's going on from a saner place.
Marisa, can you walk us through some of it? Maybe.
Sure, absolutely. Do you want me to do like an actual little mini practice, or do you want me to just give tips?
What do you feel most comfortable with?
Well, here's what I will say is that whoever is watching or listening right now, if you can take a moment to just drop down into your body. So wherever you are, just finding the sense of gravity. So noticing where you're connected to something solid beneath you. So if you're sitting in a chair, the sits bones that are connected to the chair, maybe the feet on the floor, legs resting on a chair, back against a chair. And noticing how much support you actually have right now. Noticing that gravity is really holding you and actually connecting you to the earth. And maybe even you can take a moment to recognize that right now the earth is healing. And let yourself take some of that energy, some of that rest. Just settling down into the body, noticing how it feels, including aches and pains. They don't have to magically go away. We're just kind of opening up to what the body feels like. Opening up to the sounds in your environment. And recognizing that that's just the sound of life. And from this open place, shifting your attention to the breath. Noticing where the breath is happening in the body. What do the sensations of breathing actually feel like? You don't have to breathe extra heavy. You don't have to do something to change your breathing. You're just kind of tuning into its natural rhythm. The temperature of the air as it rushes in and out of the nostrils. The rise and fall of the chest and the abdomen. And recognizing that the breath is an anchor for you. It's kind of like your home base. So your mind will wander when you're meditating, but then you'll notice and you'll come back to that home base. So this isn't about sustaining one state. It's about using the breath as an anchor for remaining mindful and noticing what's going on in your experience. And when you notice that your mind has wandered and you lost track of the breath, you lost track of the fact that you were meditating, you just very gently reconnect with the breath. Not as a way of fixing yourself or getting rid of anything, but as a way of staying with yourself so that you can keep noticing. With this willingness to notice what's going on without reacting to it. And just following the natural rhythm of the breath. Letting the air nurture you. And now shifting your attention back to the sounds where you are. The temperature of the air. Reconnecting with that sense of gravity at your seat. That sense of really being held. And maybe just finishing with a nice deep breath. That's just a little micro practice to get your.
I want to take a nap right about now.
Oh,
I'm
good.
So relaxed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And you know what? It's always available. That's the beauty of this practice is you don't need anything for it. You don't need to, it's not about tuning things out. It doesn't have to be perfectly quiet.
Yes.
And I always say it's about tuning in, not tuning out.
We need you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Marisa Viola, Mindful, MNDFL, meditation.com. Is that right?
That's right. And we've got meditation streaming like multiple times throughout the day with lots of great different teachers. So check it out or find an app that you like. It's a great time to cultivate a practice. And start small. Start small, just 5 minutes a day if you're doing it on your own with an app.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Much love.
Much love. Marisa Viola. All right, we'll take a break. We've got more next.
Did you know that brain and spinal cord tumors are the deadliest form of pediatric cancer? They can happen to anyone.
I'm not hungry. My tummy hurts.
You can help us be part of the solution.
Get in here. Hurry.
You can be part of our family.
It's okay.
Please support our mission today. Making Headway Foundation, dedicated to the care, comfort, and cure of children with brain and spinal cord tumors.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank you, our guests, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can keep following BronxNet for continued coverage. I want to thank everybody who helped put this together. Helen, thank you. Helen Greenberg, our producer, and the floor managers and everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. And always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. Stay safe. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll catch you another day, another way. I love you all. Peace.